And so we wanted to stem the tide and reverse the loss of farms. And Argus is a mission-oriented business to solve that problem and help sustain small farms.
We're here today with Bill Brinkerhoff and Kathy Sample, and they are the founders and owners of Argus Farm Stop, which is, well, we're going to get into what Argus Farm Stop is. I don't want to try to characterize it in like 3 words, but Argus Farm Stop was good enough to work with my class at University of Michigan in the fall of 2025, and it was a fascinating time. And their business model is something that I think will be interesting to a lot of people, a lot of communities. They're bringing a new kind of grocery experience, food experience, and cafe experience to people in Ann Arbor, and they have a model that can work in a lot of other places. So I'm fascinated by this business. I wanted to come here and try to understand more about how the business works, what they're doing, and actually see the place and think about also where it's going from here. So Bill, Kathy, thank you so much for having me. And what is Argus Farm Stop?
Go for it.
Yeah, no, thanks for having us. So Argus Farm Stop is a new way to sell local food from small, like farmers market farmers, that's easier. And it supplements on top of farmers markets and other avenues that people buy from small farms now to replicate a grocery experience that's convenient and has the refrigeration, but it keeps the economics highly favorable for the farms. We pay 70% back to the farms. The farms generally own their goods and set the prices. And it's something that customers then, if they miss the market, they can come and buy from all of these farms, whether it's produce or meat or dairy, any day of the week, all year.
So one of the things that we, right from the start, want to understand, and we always talk about, in these kinds of things, is, you imply that you're providing this benefit to the farmers. You have a business that works well for the farmers. What problem is this business solving, and who are you solving it for?
Well, so probably there's 2 problems.
Yeah.
It's very hard to sustain a small farm business right now if you're really growing food products on a small scale. It's very hard to go beyond the farmer's market, which is 1 day a week, and probably you could max out at $500, $700 on farmer's market day. And it's hard to make that a sustainable living.
Yeah.
You can go to other avenues like restaurants, which have other challenges. So that's one problem. But the other problem is that consumers shop differently than going to a place 1 day a week between the hours of 7 and 3. It's just a different way of shopping for most people. So by offering something that's every day, year round, we can get to those consumers who might otherwise not be going to the farmer's market, but still care about where their food comes from.
And I could add, in our country and in our county, we've seen a disappearance of farms continuously since the 50s. We've lost, in our county, over 90% of the farms that produce food. And it's the same across the state of Michigan, it's the same across the Midwest, and similar across the U.S. And in our town, that's in spite of having lots of farmers markets, lots of ways to buy from these farmers, it's still not solving the problem. And so we wanted to stem the tide and reverse the loss of farms. And Argus is a mission-oriented business to solve that problem and help sustain small farms.
So on the one hand, you have the consumer out there who wants to have fresh food. I don't know if they care so much that it's locally sourced or not, but do they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because when it's locally sourced, it's going to be far fresher than, just picture a head of lettuce that you get in the grocery store. It comes from Yuma, Arizona. And if you follow that head of lettuce from the place that it's essentially manufactured, because it's made in such quantities, and from an area that has no water, by the way, if you follow it, it goes through a lot of different touch points that add on to the cost. By the time it gets to the grocery store, it's 7 days old. And then you get it home and you look at it over the weekend, and on Monday you're like, well, now it's brown.
Okay.
It's because traveling so far is just not great for vegetables. Whereas our farmers drop off twice a week. You'll go in there and that lettuce that you buy was harvested yesterday and kept very well. So it's better. And I think people are starting to realize that. Like, if you do that, next time you go to the big box store and you look at that head of lettuce, just take a look at it and look at the packaging and try to figure out where it came from. I think people are caring more about where their food comes from.
So people want access to fresh food where they know where it comes from, but they also want more convenience than just going somewhere one day a week and having a lineup with the schedule for a farmer's market.
Yeah, and from the farmer's perspective, picture that you're going to sell your stuff one day a week, but to do that, you have to actually physically be present. It's not like Amazon where you can just be on the web or whatever.
Yeah.
You got to be there. You got to get up at 5 in the morning to get to the place with your stuff, get your right stall, get set up. If the weather's bad, or it's okay here in Ann Arbor, if it's a game day, a lot of tourists come through the market. It's not necessarily people buying produce. There's a lot of obstacles for the farmer too. So it's like obstacles for the consumer, obstacles for the farmer, and so we've tried to find a way to bring them together.
So why do these farmers with the traditional outlets, why do they find it so difficult to survive, these small farmers?
Yeah, the real problem in farming in the country is that the farmers make very little money, and on average they make 15 cents of the retail dollar, and 85 cents goes to the marketing and the transportation, the aggregation, and food on average travels 1,500 miles from farm to table in our country with the industrial system, and that's how almost all food is purchased. Like 99% of the food goes through that channel. There's this tiny sliver called direct-to-consumer small farm that's 1%, where the farms make enough money to survive and customers get access to the farmer they met and they know and they want to buy that farmer's food. It's a small segment. And so this is the kind of the current state of affairs. And it's very difficult for a farmer to compete and survive. And so what the farm stop model does is try to change those numbers. And if you could get rid of the distribution and you could exclusively supply from local farms, how much could you pay the farm and still run an everyday store? And the answer is 70% can be paid to the farms when they are bringing things in sellable condition to your store. And we have over 300 farms selling through Argus now. And then 30% is enough to run a mission-oriented business that operates slightly above break even, pays our staff, pays for the rent, the refrigeration. Like that's, the owners in a mission business are not generating wealth, but they are operating and having a sustainable business.
So they're getting 70 cents on that dollar as opposed to 15 cents.
Correct.
Through the large, industrial farming method.
Which is similar to a farmer's market. Because, by the time all is said and done, the costs to be at a market are 25 to 30%. So we think we're just at parity with the farmer's market, and it's a lot easier to just drop your stuff off, get your great latte, because we give our farmers free coffee because we want them to mingle. We want them to come in and talk to our staff. We want our staff to spend the time to know, it's going to be a late lettuce crop, or it's going to be a super great spinach crop, or whatever. So by encouraging the farmers to kind of hang around, we learn more, which is not efficient, right? Because in a big grocery store, they're just going on to the ordering form and just ordering a pallet of lettuce. Our farmers would never be allowed in those stores because the lettuce needs to come shrink wrapped in crates, and they are allowed to go in the store between, depends on the farm, but we're the distributor, between 10 and 10:30 a.m. every Tuesday. Well, our farmers deliver when they want, and we greet them warmly and treat them well.
So in business parlance, you're giving these farmers, the problem you're solving for them, you're giving them access to a higher margin channel for their goods. But it sounds like both for the consumer and for the farmer, you're doing something else, which is creating this sense of community where they're connected to the community, and the consumers are connected to the farmer, and they feel part of this community, and that seems like something that people lack nowadays, and just want in so many areas.
It's so true. It's really, when we designed the farm stop model, we wanted it to be economically sustainable for us and for the farms, and that's, we can go through the numbers there. That's achieved.
Yeah.
The part that was probably the biggest surprise is the community that has come together around this food system, and and that would include staff as well as farmers and customers, because when you put all three of them together, customers are thanking us for being here every day because they wanted to shop, from farmer, Tantre or Farmer Getz, and they thought they had no choice because they didn't make it to the market. Now they can come here and exclusively see what's available in our food system, and support those local farms. And the farmers say, this is great. It's so hard for me to grow this year. And now to not have that extra burden of trying to figure out how to sell everything is so great. And then staff now if you love local food as a staff member, you want to work in local food in Michigan, that's at best like a 6-month per year job. Even farmers market manager, like the top job, is seasonal. And so what we have a staff of 70 now that are able to work year round in the food system. And I think farm stops around the country have that similar characteristic. It's not just here.
So going back before the beginning, you were both business trained, college educated business people. You were involved in industry at some point. You were telling me before you lived out east in New Jersey. How did you come to do this? Tell me about how this started.
Well, so we both had corporate jobs, and we were traveling all over the place, and we were those people who couldn't get to the farmer's market, but we've always shopped kind of locally, whether it was like a produce box that we got from a local organization that consolidated stuff in New Jersey. We were part of a fantastic co-op there, but it just was hard for us. We came back to Michigan, we were working, and then we had a chance to do something together. We thought, well, maybe this is time in our life where we should try to do something together. So
I think like careers have chapters, and we had done enough of the corporate side, and we thought, why not try to do something to benefit our local community? And then serendipity stepped in. Like, we were open. I had a sale of a company. Kathy was thinking to go back into her role, and so we had this moment where you can like re-choose to re-up for what you always done or do something different. And we happened to be dropping our middle son off at the College of Worcester in Ohio, and we wandered into this store called Local Roots, started by a 28-year-old who wanted to make shopping local easier, and she helped us understand how this model would work. Our first idea was not to start a retail grocery store as our next career, but as we came back and shared this idea, what we saw in Worcester was a store where the farmers owned their goods. They set the prices. They were there. We were there in the middle of the week. We met the chicken farmer, and then we met the blueberry farmer, and weirdly, this is 2 or 3 hours away. We were more part of that local food community there because of that store model than we felt like we were here. And we said, well, someone should do this in Ann Arbor. And I think we tried to convince others to do it. We talked to the farmers market, and they all said, this is a great idea. We can't do it. You guys should do it.
And then we talked to more people. We categorized all of our conversations. Like, we just kept a spreadsheet about who we were talking to: realtor, government official, local food enthusiast, farmer's market person, farmer, wannabe farmer. Like, we talked students, tons of students, and we were like, here's this idea we have. What do you think about it? And during those conversations, we confirmed that no one was trying to do it currently, that we could work with. And no one had tried to do it and failed for reasons that we could have learned. So then we were like, okay. And I think at that point, we started looking for a building, and then we found an abandoned gas station
just west of Maine?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've been twice.
It's a
Near the
great,
train tracks.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So it was an abandoned gas station, and we were like, we could make this into a small market. And if we have a before and after picture, when it just shows what you can do with an old
like to
abandoned
get that.
building. I'd be happy to.
Happy to send it to you. And Yeah, they were in Ohio. They were very generous, and they shared, their model, and so we've returned that favor. So we have open discussions with communities around the country to share what we've learned.
Yeah.
The innovation that we applied here was to do it under a business structure. In Ohio, it's a farmer-owned cooperative,
Yeah.
which has some benefits, but it also has some complexities, and it's got elected governance and lots of people trying to decide how to run it.
Yeah.
And we felt that a business-directed LLC, an L3C, could let us make decisions more quickly, but also make it clear to all the constituencies that this is a mission-directed business to help small farms.
Mm-hmm. So the people that you're serving with this business, how would you characterize your customers overall?
It's a subset of the population who cares about where their food is grown. Because really, our stores don't have saran wrap or stuff like that, right? So you have to be dedicated to come in, get what you can and what you want to cook with, and then you're going to make your next stop to get the, paper goods or whatever.
Yeah.
So we are doing this demographic analysis now, and it's showing some of the customer types.
Yeah.
And we've been surprised by some of the results. But it's generally people who'd be at the farmer's market but just aren't because they can't get there.
Mm-hmm.
Really, if you just picture, it's a wide range of people.
Mm-hmm.
It tends to be not first and second year students because they're eating in a dorm, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be people who care about what they cook and are intentional about what they buy. And we have found there's a lot of brand awareness for local farms now. Like somebody will come in and they'll say, okay, I'm going to go and see what Tantre has because that's their brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
They know they're organic, blah, blah, blah. They will find the brands that they want, just like they would find the brands at the farmer's market. They would go to certain booths, right? You target the people you normally shop from. So it's a sliver across the demographics, and it's growing because people are starting to realize how good the food can be that you can grow within 60 miles of here.
Yeah, COVID was a game changer. Our business almost doubled because the regular industrial system broke down and local farms did not. We had a highly distributed system. It's highly resilient, and these farms, even in the peak of that, kept delivering. And lots of customers who had never been to Argus or a farm stop came, and they experienced a local egg, which is a totally different product than an industrial egg. If you crack them and put them in a pan, they will be night and day. And so when COVID ended, those customers stayed with us. And so we saw this rapid ramp up out of necessity. And then the business never went back down. It kept growing as people were exposed to what these farms can do.
Yeah. I like that.
And what human
industrial
interaction.
egg.
Yeah, that's what it is. But I think
A million chickens in a building is industrial.
Yeah.
But
it is scary. But I think they also experience what you'll see at the market, which is staff who cares about what they're doing. They know the farmers who are delivering the food. And so there's this interaction at the register, whether it's at the cafe or at the market, where our staff understands why we're here. They understand the mission. They can articulate the mission. And like we'll get people who come in here and they're like, wait, I thought this was a market. And we're like, yeah, we moved the market down the street. And the staffer will not just say, oh yeah, just go down the street. They'll say, oh yeah, it's great. We just got a delivery of asparagus in. Like they'll know. And so I think to be engaged, kind of old, it sounds old timey, but it's actually much more rewarding to be in that atmosphere than be the robot who you don't want to make eye contact with because they don't really know what's on the shelf.
Yeah. So I get kind of a feeling and understanding of the retail customer. On the farmer side, is there a profile for these farmers that you have come to understand?
Yeah, I think the farmer profile that Argus is working to support is more of a farmer's market scale farmer, and so they're doing it to make a living. It's generally not like a backyard farmer. It's someone who's doing this for a living.
Yeah.
And they're normally doing it. You don't need a lot of acreage. This might be 1 to 10 acres to grow vegetables, and it's probably below the threshold of like a wholesale farm that's selling into the wholesale distribution system. That's that's another important problem to solve. It's just not our problem. Like the problem we're focused on is the smaller farm that is the one who's selling at a farmer's market, and they have great capacity to grow more. They can easily grow 50% more if they had an easy way to sell it, and we've provided the easier way to sell it.
So you have the cafe now as part of the model. How does that figure into the overall model?
That's important because, Bill had said, well, okay, we have a 30% margin, which, okay, you can't really run a business these days on that margin. You need something that's giving you a little extra margin. So we have this cafe, and it's very intentional to help with our business model. And one of the consequences, and one of the happiest consequences, is that you have a robust population of people who want to come in every day and chat, and they feel good about what they do, and they know that when they're buying that latte, they're supporting our business model. It's not. It also makes for a 20-minute neighborhood. So around this neighborhood, it's made a big impact on people just coming in. The running group comes in the morning. The Girl Scouts come and sell in front of the store. We have local bakers who use the cottage food law in Michigan, which is an interesting way to get started. You can bake in your house, and as long as you're present for the sale, you can sell that to consumers because there's an implicit contract between you and the consumer if you're present. So we encourage those people. So we actually have quite a wide variety of producers. Yeah.
So that implies to me, talking about, the logistics behind the business, it implies that there's got to be a lot of thinking about how you coordinate everything with these farmers and make sure that you have a consistent supply of stuff on the shelf from, what does that system look like?
Yeah. So it's a really good question. And I would say we have a high performance inventory management system that is personal. It relies on communication with the farms. It's not we do not take the farmers' goods into our inventory. The farmers literally bring products to our store each week after a discussion with us, and the first time our systems know about it is when that customer brings those carrots to the register for sale.
So it's consignment.
Yeah, it's a consignment system for the purpose of we want the customers to buy directly from those farms. We heard from farmers that they want to control the commercial conditions of their sale, and we support that. We want to be kind of an invisible intermediary between the farmer and the customer, and the sign above the register says farmers take 70% of sales, 30% lets us be here. And the secret component of a farm stop that makes that possible is the communication every week with every farmer on the terms of that farmer. And so it means for some farmers that's an email, for some farmers that's a phone call.
Wow.
For our Amish farmers, they have neither the cell phone nor the computer. They call us 8:30 Tuesday morning, and you need to be ready to tell them what they should bring in that week. And it is, if we end up with, we have very little food waste. That's a common question, like it's consignment. Sometimes consignment is used to shift risk of loss to the grower, and that was nowhere near what we wanted to do. Instead, we wanted to have nothing to do with the traditional paradigm where we would negotiate a low price with the farmer and then jack up the price for customers. Like, that's normal grocery. That's not how we operate. But it does require weekly communication. And if the farmer brings in a little bit too much one week and there is a little overage, we have food gatherers that picks up, and the farmer tells us what to do. And it's immediately corrected the next week. And turns out food waste in a farm stop is negligible. It's less than 1% compared to like 35% is the number nationally for our industrial food system.
So this sounds like a high touch, inventory management. Who manages that, and how replicable is that model?
Yeah, those such good questions. So we have a produce manager in each store who is the point person to make sure those communications take place. They don't personally have to do it. And we've divided up that workload. Over a typical week, there'll be 100 farms or producers delivering, and every one of those will be communicated with by somebody. And so we break it by day. On Monday, these are the 12 farms that get communicated with. On Tuesday, these are the 14, and so on. And so it is a well-tuned system that is very different from traditional grocery. And replication is a whole other topic that we can talk about, because we're in the middle of a project to make it easier to replicate this for other communities. And that part of it that you just mentioned is the most important part to replicate, that is unknown for most people that are interested in the model but don't know.
That would be
You
the
cut right to the
hard part to get. Yeah.
You cut right to the important question. Yeah.
Well, growing up in Flint and seeing Detroit, and we have the Eastern Market in Detroit. We have a farmers market in Flint that recently within the last few years, moved from the traditional location down by the river to a downtown location. But anyway, you have this issue in a lot of urban communities of these food deserts where people don't even know what fresh food is, right? Mm-hmm. And this seems like it could be a solution for some of these communities. But that's why I wondered about how can you replicate this, because you have to have the technical ability to manage those relationships.
Yeah.
But that's the fun of it too. And so you can say that's the complicating part, and that's the part we should drive towards efficiency. But there is something really nice to be standing in the back of the store with Norm Holtz coming in with a huge load of potatoes.
Yeah.
And he's going to tell you something about what's happening with those potatoes and what's coming up. And hey, my daffodils are coming in next week. I mean, you have that conversation, and it's more rewarding than just communicating on a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Plus, the employees then will say, hey, Norm's bringing in daffodils on Tuesday. We're good communication throughout our store. So it's the secret sauce, even though it is the bugaboo bit.
Yeah. Wow.
I think, in an urban setting, a farm stop could work really well if, you have 20, 30 urban farms.
Yeah.
You might need to reach a little further.
Yes.
You go to your farmer's market and you find the farmers selling at like Eastern Market or the Flint Farmers Market that can supply what these urban farms don't have. But pretty quickly you could come together with, 40, 50 farms that could supply most of what a store would want.
Yeah.
I think the proposition to those farmers that they could bring in sellable condition, control the price, and take 70% is attractive for those farmers.
Yeah.
We found farmers in lower income communities are okay to drop their price. And like the Ipsy Farmers Market operates with the same farms, actually lower price, because the farmers know it's not, I think it can I think the income, the sales price in a store can match the community in some way. And the operational logistics are something that we are making available open source. And we don't claim to have all the wisdom in it, but we've been doing it for more than 12 years, and we've come to replicable systems that some people just want to invent it, they're entrepreneurial, and they should go for it.
Yeah.
Other people say, I just want a store like Liberty. I want a little cafe, I want a grocery store, tell me what to do.
Yeah.
And that's what we're developing the materials for now in our acceleration project with the U of M Business School.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And with an expert on replication of store models.
Yeah. Well, that's great. And it's something that I think the combination of the grocery and the cafe, that community thing could be really powerful
in there
for a lot of communities.
So the advice that we had, we're working with Dave Keel, who was former president of Haagen-Dazs Shops Worldwide, did honey baked ham, and he's retired to Ann Arbor. And he's taken all of this expertise on model replication from the business side and saying, what if we use the operational expertise there and not try to do an extractive franchise, but use those operational best practices to help a farm stop grow.
Yeah.
And so the first step that we've understood that's most important is to really think about all the things Argus does, which is probably 7 or 8 different operations, and hone them down to the essence. Like what's the essential template? If you want to have a starter farm stop in your town, and where we've come to after months of discussion with our team is it is the Liberty store, it's the combined cafe and market gives that basic foundation for a farm stop. And from there, you can always grow to do online like we're doing, or do weekly produce boxes or other things, some restaurant supply. But you can't do all 7 things at once. You need to get off the ground. And so that community, with a coffee shop and a market is really the essence of a starter template.
Okay. So I want to get upstairs and see some of this stuff, but the last thing I'm going to ask in terms of business model is I get my $1 head of lettuce, let's say, so 70 cents of that dollar goes to the farmer. How do you break down that other 30 cents, and how much remains at the bottom when you're done?
Yeah. So we target to have 2% net income left over, which is the same as normal grocery stores. And that sounds terrible to a high-tech person. For us, it's very controllable under this business model, and we can achieve it pretty consistently. One of the secret features is the farmers are our partner in this, and we started off paying 80% to the farms, and they loved it, but we were barely making it, and we had to back it to 75 cents. So we pulled all of the farmers, and no one left. They said, do what you guys need to do, but don't do something stupid like go out of business. So we went from 80 to 75, and then we were still a little bit struggling. We had a partnership with the Fair Food Network, and we had their investment group do a top to bottom audit, and they said, you guys are still cutting it too close. 70-30 would be better. We went back to the farms, and so for the last probably 4 years, we've really stabilized on 70-30 as a sustainable mix that covers, I'd say, fair compensation for staff. We have a retirement kind of effort. We have a healthcare kind of a benefit. We have paid time off. If money making is your top goal, you probably don't work here. But we wanted to make it a place where people who love local food can work. So wages are the number one expense out of the 30% for sure, and it's always a trade-off. And that's the one we manage most closely.
So how long ago was it that you dropped your son off in Ohio and you got the idea to do this?
It was
It was 2013.
2013.
In August, and we first saw it. We went back there in Worcester, Ohio, like in September and then October, and we kept going into the store called Local Roots. We said, this place is amazing. Never seen anything like it. And
we knew it was something special from the second we walked in there. And our first thought was, this would really be cool in Ann Arbor. But it took us a little bit of time to go, okay, let's do it. Let's go.
I think it was November of that year that we said, we've talked to a few people. This looks like it'd be great for our community. Let's put our business hats on and actually make this our full-time job for the next 3 months. Talk to as many people as we can, do the financials, learn. We engaged with the Michigan Farmers Market Association, and they had a class to train you to be a certified farmers market manager. And we took that class. We were side by side with farmers market managers from all over the state. In parallel.
You did your customer discovery and your market discovery. You didn't just jump out there, put a shingle up.
Yeah, it was a heavy effort, and then it came to a head in March. In March, the building became available on Liberty, and it was it's all fun and games until you sign a lease, and you formulate your company, and so that's in March is when we said let's just do it, and we opened in August of that year.
Well, it seems like you guys are still excited about the business and the model.
It's energizing,
and it seems infectious because dealing with Alex, it comes through. That excitement about it.
Yeah, it's nice. After 12 years, we're still happy to come into work every day and just jump right in. I was doing dishes this morning upstairs because all the customers, them, right?
But really, excited about the utility for an urban setting. So we've worked with a number of potential groups that want to start in Ypsilanti. In Worcester, it's actually kind of a lower income community than Ypsilanti. There's one in Huntington, West Virginia, called the Wild Ramp that's been around a long time, and they do a farm stop model combined with food access for low income, and so there's a whole discussion there. But I'm excited for the utility of this model to enable small farms in an urban setting to have an easy access and have those customers also have an easy access that is available today.
Yeah. Well, I want to get upstairs and see. I
Let's
guess
do it.
we start with the market and then come back to the
Yeah.
cafe.
We can
We'll just
leave
leave our
stuff.
stuff here.
Welcome to Argus Farm Stop on Packard. This store encompasses everything that our local food shed can produce. It's exclusively local. As you look around the store, you'll see that, and we'll take a walk here, that everything here is pretty much owned by local farmers. For the most part, these farms own these goods and set the prices, just like a farmer's market, and they take 70% of the sales, which is way higher than the 15 cents nationally that farmers get. So we're trying to provide a high income outlet for farmers who work hard to produce their goods and make it easier for customers to buy from them.
Yeah.
And for customers, and especially customers who prioritize supporting local farms that didn't have time to make it to the farmer's market, this is a store where they can shop and buy from over 100 farms selling produce and meat and dairy and grocery items.
So they bring the items to you, and you stock and present them. You do the presentation.
Yeah, the arrangement we have with farmers is that they provide them in sellable conditions, so they're ready, they're washed, they're bunched. They'd be just like a farmer's market display would be.
Yeah.
But then we take custody of them, and I use that word carefully because we really do feel like the custodians of their goods, because they're still owning them, and we're just the stewards to make them available in a great display setting that's aesthetic and can help a customer easily buy them.
Yeah. Okay. So how this stuff is presented to the public is you're in control of that.
Yeah, we control how the markets work, and for example, we'll try to use the best practice of grocery where we can. So this is a display clearly for, looks like St. Patrick's Day, because we've got cabbage, potatoes, and Patty's Red outside beer. So these are things that we do that are fun for customers and highlight some of the local products.
Right inside the front door.
Yeah. But if we turn around to the apples, I can give an example of how this is different from most stores, where what you'll see is we try to have at least 3 or 4 producers of any one item. So for apples, a customer comes in and they can pick from Capnick orchards, they can pick from Adsit's organic orchards, but there won't be 7 or 8. Like when you get too many choices, it's exhausting for customers and it really dilutes what a farmer can earn. So the mix for us is always, ideally 3 to 4 producers that we curate the mix, and we make sure that we kind of keep that in our base. And it means some farmers who have apples don't bring them in, but they may sell something else here. What's important in this store is we're not just selling an apple, we're selling a Capnick apple, or we're selling an Adsit apple. And so it says, bring this barcode to ring me up. So you would grab a barcode. Many items across the store have little stickers that make that easier, or barcodes. And the point of sale system that keeps track of whether that apple was a Capnick apple or an Adsit apple. And we pay the farms out every 2 weeks for all of their sales in the store.
Do you have farmers who are like an apple grower who wants to get in here, but you already got enough and you have to turn them away, or how does that work?
We started with 40 farms. That's enough to have one of everything, basically. And now we have over 300, and it's pretty full. We have a waiting list. We communicate, though, what we're looking for. When we opened the store, Kathy made a top 10 list of things that we should have that we don't. And one of them was yogurt. There was no local production of yogurt, even though we should. And she put out a notification, if anyone produces any of these items, we will feature you in the store. And as you go around there, you'll see we have 2 yogurt producers that are making like high income selling just through our stores. And so, there is a waiting list, but we also coordinate. There's a farm stop in Chelsea now called Agricole. So sometimes a farmer will start there. They may be there for a year. Maybe we'll have a shortage. And we'll need something, and we'll slot someone in. Yeah. So, we can walk around to see.
My 2 favorite produce items are apples and popcorn.
Popcorn, great. All right. So we have local popcorn as well. But you see, like we do have a mixture of shelf-stable things as well. But these are exclusively locally produced, whether it's peanut butter or maple syrup. And also a fast-growing product line are non-alcoholic drinks and mixers. And these are incredible. We've just been experimenting with this. It's a category that's growing among the fastest in beverage, and lots of innovation going on in Michigan in how that's working.
Oats.
Yeah, oats. Yeah. So you can pick your oats, and so we've got the local beers and wines. Ice creams have been also. So in addition to like traditional farms and bakeries or dairies, we also work with local businesses. So Blank Slate is a local business, makes wonderful ice cream, and we sell their ice cream here. It's one of the more popular items, and they most of these places get the same general approach, the same 70-30 sharing. They provide what they think are the products they want to sell, and they get 70% of the sales.
Wow, you got the frozen fruit.
So we've got a couple different producers of popcorn, and again, these are something that local farms can produce. It takes some specialization in how it's produced, but we feature these. We're not going to carry chicken pot, but we will carry a variety of what our local farms can produce for popcorn.
Do a little shopping when we're done.
Yeah. I have another one. I'll pick up here. So these are hazelnuts, just as an example. Which normally, when you think of hazelnuts, they're wonderful. You see them on top of salads. You can mix them into different dishes. Normally, they're coming from Italy. It turns out that in Michigan, we're at the same climate as where hazelnuts are grown in Italy, and they can be perfectly well grown here. And normally, this is grown from a small farm near Lansing. The farmer is in her late 80s. She's been selling at farmers markets for her career. She has lots of customers, and she's looking for a way, to make it easier. And so she started supplying. This is one version, but we have other packages of her nuts that are being sold through the store now. In addition to her still farmers market selling, this is giving her another outlet. And for that person that wants to experience what we can do locally, hazelnuts is something most people might not think of, but that's another one. I think in the meat section you'll see like Lake Michigan fish. So we've got perch and we've got whitefish, we got walleye. These are all from Bayport fisheries in the Thumb, and they sell at farmers markets. They sell here, so you can get local fish that's not going to be, raised in some, way that is not great for the climate. That sometimes is a concern. But as you work your way through, even like the rest of the meat, as you go through lamb and chicken and beef and pork, it is under one refrigeration, the collection of local meats that is we've not seen anywhere else in the world. That you can have this many choices of humanely raised small herd animals available under one roof. And this is an example like of a comparative to a farmer's market sale where these same farmers do sell at the farmer's market. They're having to bring coolers. They're having to push a kind of a frosty piece of meat across the table. You have to trust that farmer. It is good, but it takes a little, belief from the customer. And here you can see like retail display, lots of choices, and it works. It's the right way to honor these farmers by letting them have a display like this.
My mom would have loved this. She loved fresh perch.
Yes.
And
oh yeah.
I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, the perch is awesome, and we've also found so these are frozen, and we work. Anyone who starts to work with local meat finds this trade-off is fine. But we still have lots of customers that come in at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They, like a lot of us, haven't planned for dinner, and they need something. And so around the corner, I'd like to show you something that we are working with to make it easier to sell local meat, where we each day take out and thaw a selection that customers can buy, and it has become very, very popular with our customers.
Okay.
So we mentioned, consignment and farmers own the goods, and that's true for almost everything. That's consignment if possible because we want the farms to be the beneficiary of the highest margins. But some things like dairy want nothing to do with consignment. They just are not set up. They're big businesses. These are great local dairies with Calder and Farmers Creamery are the two in Michigan that we work with. And so we do buy these and mark them up. We make more money on this than we do with the farms, where the farms make more money on produce than we do with this. But it is probably 70% of the store is consignment and 30% is wholesale.
So there are no farmers that are willing to do consignment milk?
There's very few dairies, and the ones that are there are big. They're just big businesses. And the same with our bakery. We work with bakery. There's lots of small bakers who are willing to bake, but they don't bake every day of the week, and they don't bake every week of the year. And our customers need to rely upon us. And so what we found is the best mixture of the 3 or 4 bakeries. One of them is Crust, which is a wholesale big quality bakery from Fenton. They deliver every morning. They have keys to our store. When our staff comes in the morning, the bread and the pastries are here. And that, by having that relationship with Crust as our anchor, it lets us then use Bird Dog from Ypsilanti or White Lotus, from the Buddhist farm, that's supplied maybe 1 or 2 days a week. And when they're producing those days, we will back off our Crust order. We can curate the mix to feature the small farm, but then for customers have the big farm.
Is Crust associated with the laundry?
Crust is was associated with the laundry in Fenton. When we started, we thought about who could be our everyday baker. And we love Zingerman's. We worked closely with them. They were more widely available here. We also talked to Crust, and the owner Chad wanted to come into Ann Arbor and came down to work with us to get started. And we've been a big outlet for them for the last 12 years. But they are connected.
I love the laundry.
The laundry. I know, me too. It's a favorite. And this is the meat display. It has kind of a small mix of what's available each day. If you're looking for something just to grab and put in and cook. And it is, again, it's the same humanely raised small farm meats, but it's ready to go and cook immediately. And the way this system works is it's high touch with these individual farmers. You'll see, on any one item, like this is a squash. They'll have a small number code on it that uniquely identifies it for the point of sale system that says, it is exactly a honey nut from Norm Holtz. And I'll say, when you meet Norm Holtz, he sells in the Eastern Market too. He'll tell you why he does not wash. He does not wash his products on purpose because as soon as you wash them, they look beautiful, but then they have much shorter shelf life. And so some customers love that. They've met Norm. His hands are enormous. His heart is enormous. Other customers want a beautiful looking honey nut, and you'll see around the corner there will be another farmer who believes my things should be pristine. Customers do not want dirt. And so we try to offer 3 or 4 choices.
I feel like you have to wash them anyway.
Yes.
So it's a merchandising thing more than anything else. Right? I'm not going to trust it just because it looks nice. I don't need to wash it.
It is, yes. But that's and I think that, and then we come here to pride and joy of Farm Stops is the produce deck. These are professional refrigeration. They maintain temperatures. They have a misting system that you can turn on or off by zone. And normally these are reserved only in big grocery stores for industrial produce. And the question was, why can't we have such beautiful display of something exclusively of these little farms? Like, again, Norm Holmes, you looked at his squash, and here are his leeks. And they're getting misted, every 15 minutes. These are kept pristine. Tantre's beets. And this changes every day. We don't know what's going to be in here next week. The produce manager here does an amazing job to play Tetris and get on in.
So you alluded to this before, but every week you're going to have stuff that doesn't sell, right? And so somebody has to manage that too, right? On the backside, right? So what happens? How does that work?
Sure. So for part of our 30% that we take of sales, we do all of the display and we care for these just with as much care as we can provide. We'll do some pruning. We'll take a brown leaf off, little like things like that,
Yeah.
to make things look nice, like in a normal selling condition. And that is really like the majority of what we're doing.
Yeah.
Most things sell here. There's very little that doesn't sell.
Yeah.
But let's take a walk around the back. I'll show you. In most cases, if there is something that didn't sell, because the farms are delivering once or twice a week, it's not like there's a pallet sitting somewhere that goes bad. It's like they brought in 3 cases and we have a handful that didn't sell. And what do you want to do with them when you come in next week? In most cases, they say, I'll take them or give them to food gatherers or compost them.
Oh, okay, you mentioned food gathering.
Yeah, food gatherers, but it's a very, the whole store operates on a residential compost containers. It's very little food waste. There's no dumpsters full of produce. But a lot of the farms lean into giving us so that we always have enough to sell, and that there's always some unsold, because they know our backup plan is food gatherers to provide food for low-income families. And so if there is a little extra, it goes into some boxes, and I'll show you how that works.
Cool. What's the square footage of this store?
This store is about 3,000 square feet. So 3,000 square feet is about a tenth of the size of even a small grocery store.
Yeah.
But what we keep in the back is enough storage to replicate what's on the floor. So if we have 2 days of sales inventory on the store, we'll probably have 2 days of back stock here.
Yeah.
And the store pretty much turns over every week. It is a just-in-time,
Yeah.
multiple delivery a week operation from local farms and producers. We have a walk-in refrigerator that keeps track of all of our refrigerated items, and we have a similar walk-in freezer that allows us to store all back stock of meats and local frozen items. But I can show you on the food waste thing, the food gatherers. I'll say 2 things. One is this is a larger walk-in than we have in most stores, because we also run our weekly produce box out of this store. If you look in the back, you'll see all the green boxes,
Yeah.
and that's a beautiful curated box.
So people get that delivered
Delivered to them or pick it up, and we have 250 customers that get that every week. It's a very popular program. Will Moyer, who runs our online systems, curates a box of the best that's available from 100 farms every week.
Yeah.
It's something that is hard to replicate as an individual farm, because we have fruit, we'll have produce, we'll throw in something special,
Yeah.
honey or something like that as well. But for food waste, this is an example of something that, this is the food gatherer section, and we know that it's for food gatherers because it's coming in banana boxes. And so it's distinctly, not local food. They drop off banana boxes for us, and then we'll put in, this is spinach. It's still extremely, would be fine to cook with. I think a local family would love to have it, but Jacob's Fresh Farm brought in more that had more dating, and he said, just go ahead and put those in food gatherers. But it's 2 shelves of a small rack
Yeah.
that constitute the food waste in this store. Yeah, these are the.
Not much.
Yeah, it's not much. It's a very, food waste is a big benefit of this model store. It's doing very little. The other thing I'll mention too is we do have flowers from local farms as well. And so we kind of use the same ethos. Food is our main mission, but if we have farmers that also grow flowers, and we'll sell anything that farmer has if we can. And it's under the same operation. They can price it, bring it in as they want. It's listed on their sales report that they get every 2 weeks, and they take 70% of sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is kind of the back of the operations here.
Yeah.
I don't know, but this would be helpful. It's,
Really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're in the midst of, we've been working with the Buddhists. We have a service area behind the store, and we're going to resurface and put additional refrigeration out there. We were the recipients of a USDA grant to give us more infrastructure and expand our online and our weekly produce box to 500 a week.
Oh, wow.
We don't have space to do it inside here.
This is cool.
Yeah, it's cool. All right, Kathy, I've been talking my head off
If
here.
you'd been here yesterday,
This is the microphone. Don't put it in your pocket.
This is when we do 300 produce boxes.
Yeah.
Did you show them the boxes?
Yeah, we saw.
Yeah.
So it's a big production line. So
Yeah.
it gets quiet other times of the week, but we can grow into additional days or whatever. So we're always, working on ways to get the produce boxes growing,
Yeah.
because if you're a farmer and you can sell 300 cabbages at one shot, you're much happier than dropping off a bunch of crates to sell through the course of the week. So it's just a really nice additional business for us.
Let's go meet the staff.
Okay.
Before we reach that, I have one big question.
Yeah.
So, if what you're doing here, would you say it represents like 1% of the grocery purchases in the Ann Arbor area, something like that?
So hard to quantify
This
that.
is, so we're desperately after that data.
Yeah.
And it's knowable. What we know is we paid out 30 million to local farms, so we know exactly how much we paid out.
Yeah.
And we know that what our store provides for those farmers is probably, on average, like 20 to 30% of their income. And so we're one of their outlets. We're not the only one.
Yeah.
And we know the other metric we know is that Washtenaw County is the fastest growing county in Michigan for new farms opening.
In this whole
And
state.
reversing the trend nationwide of farms disappearing. The ag census from 2022
Yeah.
showed we had 59 new farms open. It was number one in the state.
Yeah.
So we have metrics of impact. Percentage, our market share, instead of 1%, my guess would be we're probably, maybe Ann Arbor might be 4 or 5% now,
Okay.
local, and 95% industrial.
So it seems like you're nowhere near what you could be.
Yeah.
Nobody, no, there's a long way to grow without making anybody upset that we took their grocery business. Right.
Yeah, and there will always be, room for grocery. Everyone wants oranges and avocados, and we do too. But it's the part that we're working on. Are the things that really small can and should be grown here: garlic and lettuce and spinach and things that are just way better when they're fresh and local.
And it makes us super happy when we go to Bush's. Like I'll look at, I go do price checking and stuff, and I'll see like Garden Fort or Sealy. I'll see our farmers who've expanded into the local grocery. Usually it's one of the smaller chains, like Bush's has 12 stores maybe.
Yeah.
But still, that's a great
It's a
step.
success for us.
Yeah.
That's something we didn't talk about too, is that we are, our mission is to grow the local food system. It's not to grow the sales in our four walls. And so for us, if a restaurant wants to buy directly from a farm, that's a victory, because that farm is getting more money.
Yeah.
If that farmer is selling in a grocery store, as Kathy's mentioning, that's a success. Like that farmer's made it to a whole nother outlet because customers are demanding it.
Yeah.
Another win. Like we openly share our leads with grocery stores, with farmers, and we're happy to not participate economically in a sale that farmer gets, as long as they're making money. I mean, and it's a different approach to business.
Yeah.
But the rewards for us have been tremendous from that. We get way more than we lose by operating like that, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I get a little bit of a Trader Joe's vibe.
I hope you get the
Yeah.
incredible amount of sales per square foot vibe. Because Trader Joe's does a really good
They
job
do
with
all right,
that.
yeah.
And they limit their SKUs, they limit their store size.
They
and
don't try to do everything.
right, and
Yeah.
they maximize their employee communication with the customer,
Yeah.
which is, to me, part of the joy of the whole thing. is,
Yeah.
talking to the customer, understanding what they found, what they didn't find.
Yeah.
And you get that when you have staff that are interacting that way, as opposed to a self-checkout lane where
It's taken a bit, but I think our sales per square foot are not that far off from Trader Joe's, where our Liberty store is the small store. It had 2.5 million of sales last year in 1,300 square feet. You're starting to get close to $2,000 a square foot of sales, which is not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of where you want to be.
Yeah.
These are tight. Stack it high and watch it fly. Watch it fly is our motto a little bit.
Yeah.
But,
Well, staff.
okay, let's go.
Yeah, okay. Well, there's Rosie and Brian. As we're here, they're looking at some sales report. So this is Rosie, assistant store manager, and Brian, store manager. And then behind them is Will, and he's working on the online business. But they're commiserating on.
Yeah,
We're celebrating actually overall 29.6% increase in meat sales for one of our meat producers last year.
Okay, so that meat producer is going to be so happy, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's no accident. It's because staff cares enough to find a way to showcase it, put the right stuff on the shelf, interact with the farms. Rosie's a meat expert. She does a monthly meat box, if you can believe it. You can order a box of meat every month to be delivered or picked up, 2 different sizes from various farms, and she curates a good mix of cuts in that meat box. So,
yeah. Thanks for the shiny review.
yeah, so they care.
Yeah.
They care, and I think, yeah, it's garlic. I don't know. It's a garlic that was dropped off for me. We don't know. Here's a new producer that we've been talking about. You know, like you have people drop stuff off. They're from Birmingham. If you taste it, you're gonna get addicted.
I live in Birmingham.
Oh, well, this place is in Birmingham, and we're considering carrying them.
Can I taste?
Yeah,
Yes,
of course.
please do.
That's the non-sweet one, and the other ones have a lot of sweetness. And you can see how empty the bag is. That's an indicator of how popular it would be, right? It's like Chex
It's like a
Mix.
high-end Chex Mix. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So,
Very tasty.
yeah.
I need
So
some nuts in there.
you tell them. They live in your town, but they drop that off, and so we'll talk to them about selling here. You know, if it's something that we can do. Because, you know, you get these smaller producers and they're in Birmingham. How often do they come to Ann Arbor? They have to be regular in their delivery. They have to be able to keep up with us.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a little sweeter, but apparently the grandma, that's the recipe.
It's really good.
Yeah.
I think we should get it.
Okay. All right.
My mother was a big Chex Mix fan too.
Oh, how can you not be a Chex Mix fan,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, so this is and this is Meg, and she manages all our operations. So if a drain gets clogged,
Kathy.
that's the one we call. If something else happens,
Tornado were to come through.
nobody else wants to do it.
I'm on
Who
it.
does all of this interacting with the farmers and the inventory control?
Yeah, all of us. They'll walk in the back door. Like none have walked in since we've been here, but often they'll just come in, and whoever's back here knows what to do. They know how to take the stuff in, what to talk about, how to communicate. In fact, did you look at our daily market happenings sheet?
No.
Okay, stay right here. I'm just gonna grab it. Where's the daily
While she's
market
going,
happening?
I'll just try the other one.
Yeah.
You have the daily market happening?
Door number 3.
Give me this crunch. Oh, Appleton.
I wanted to show them.
Appleton is right across Woodward from where I live.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, this is really sweet.
So this is a sophisticated. Okay, this is our daily market happening. Was created for here's Thursday, and here's the type of farm. This is who we order from, who we do inventory for, who we check in with, and we know like how to communicate with those people. So this is just Thursday. So Friday, let's see, probably Wednesday is probably back here. So that's how we do it. Not sophisticated, but it gives us a chance to talk to everybody.
Well, you have a process. That's the main thing. It doesn't have to be.
Well, it used to be, when we first started, it was way different. So this is 11 years of innovation and staff attention.
Yeah.
So,
Great.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I really, I thought I had an understanding of the place with the class. I have a much better understanding now. And I'm going to come back later today and do a little shopping cart that they take home. But really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really. And the one final question I had was, we were talking about venture capital before and whatnot. What about this model precludes somebody coming and say, we're going to roll up all these farmers, we're going to roll up all these farm stops, we're going to, make this a national model that we get more margin from?
Yes.
My answer to that, which might be different than Bill's, would be, I think the customer would catch on. It's kind of like when private equity gets into stuff,
Yeah.
and then the soul goes out of it,
Yeah.
and you can see it fairly quickly.
Yeah.
And I could give you examples of local Michigan companies that have recently experienced that. But I feel like the customer understands our mission, and if we're not committed to our mission, they're going to recognize it. And if somebody's lining their pockets as opposed to lining the pockets of the farmer, it's not going to be appealing. That's my. What's
Yeah.
your?
Yeah, we've been approached by venture capital people that see what appears to be a great opportunity, and we agree with them that there are 10x returns
Yeah.
clearly from this model and more.
Yeah.
The difference is the 10x returns are being paid to the farmers
Yeah. Yeah.
instead of
Who's going to get that margin?
instead of to the capital providers.
Yeah.
And so but at the same time, we would love to have impact capital come in and fund in a patient capital approach. Once these stores start up, they're self-funding. They don't need additional funding each year. But that, it costs $400,000 now to start a store like this.
Yeah.
Many communities are looking to how to raise that $400,000, and we want to give the assurances to people that would fund it that it will work. So we're sharing our operating principles,
Yeah.
and we're trying to do it in a way that focuses that on the impact capital as opposed to venture capital or private equity.
I definitely want to stay in touch with you as
Yeah.
you document this model, and I'd like to include it on the website
Yeah.
so people can see.
Sure.
We try to provide more in-depth information about how these different businesses work. So
Love to
definitely
do
want
that.
Stay in touch.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Yeah. Thanks for showing an interest. That's
Thank
great.
you so much. Yeah.
love what you're doing.
And coming back and shopping. That's great.